Okay, so this is Kerobokan prison, or the outside of Kerobokan prison. It's cool to get some of the cells. Now, first things first, this is the second time I've been to Kerobokan prison today, and I tell you why. I came this morning, so you'll see the previous footage, and I was an absolute moron, and I filmed it in like some pan mode. So there's no sound, there's just slow-mo of me. I think people shoot B-roll in this pan mode, but you can't switch it from fucking pan to back to normal. You can on an iPhone, but not on a Pixel, which is what I use, a Google Pixel. Anyway, so I've had to come back to the prison just for my 2 or 3 followers on Facebook, but I really wanted to get this video. This is just obviously the perimeter of one of the perimeters. Now, what I was saying in my last video is, you can see the bars. No, not those bars. The bars on the windows. You can't really make it through. Now, what I was saying in my last video is this prison houses some famous people. Now, the prison was actually completed in 1979. It was opened in 1979, and originally it was set for about 300 people. As of the last count, which was 7 years ago, it was up to 1,500 people. And you're talking about cells originally made for 12 to 15 people that now fit 60 to 70 people, head to toe. And we're talking about an open toilet, so you know, you have to do your business in front of everyone, probably with no loo roll, using your hands. And can you imagine the disease, the insects? I mean, I've heard it's absolutely cockroach the size of rats infested. Now, famous guests of the... I've walked to the end. I'm going to walk round the other end now. Famous guests of this prison include the Bali Nine, whereby Andrew Chen and Sukumaran, who were the ringleaders, all 9 of them were caught with heroin, but they were stopped at the airport and taken here. And it was a fascinating story. You should go on to YouTube and watch the documentary about the Bali Nine. It's just fascinating. So these 2 people, Andrew Chen and Maya, I can't remember his first name, Mayaran, maybe Sukumaran is the last name. They were the ringleaders, and the court sentenced them to death while the other 7 from life prison. I'm not sure whether they all got life. I know a good majority of them did. Now, they changed their lives in prison. They became one of them became artists and actually set up a bit of a successful business, like a t-shirt printing business in here. And he kind of saved a lot of prisoners. And he also did his degree, if I'm not mistaken. Both of them reformed themselves. It's whether you believe in the death penalty, because ultimately, after many appeals, even by the Australian government, who basically said to Bali, you cannot kill these men, and if you do, we will cease trade with you. There was a massive legal dispute, and Bali basically said, look, these are our rules, you break them, you pay. And ultimately, after many appeals, they were all turned down. They were shot. They were taken to an island and shot. Just going to do one more perimeter, then I'll come back. So it's all about whether you believe that the death penalty is correct or not. I'm personally on the fence. I always used to think that it was, and I do think for certain crimes it should be, like kiddie fiddling or like really horrific murder. Yeah, I think it should be mandatory, but I think for drugs, there's kind of two thoughts about drugs. You got the one thought that say, well, they were just doing it for a little bit of money, and the other thought that says, well, look at how many families those drugs destroy. So it just depends what your belief system is. I'm personally on the fence, prison fence, pun intended. But there we go. So the Bali Nine were here. 2 of them were executed, and 7 of them, I assume, are there, or maybe a couple have been released. The Bali bombers in 2002, those fuckers that killed 200 people, they're here. No, they're not. They were taken to one of the islands where they take you for firing squad and shot, and good riddance. This is the front of the prison. I think it's the front of the prison. I was down here like this morning. I cannot believe this is the second bloody visit. Lamas Kerobokan. Yeah, that's Kerobokan prison. So this is where I was. Now, when I came this morning, there was no one here. I really wanted to speak to people. You used to be able to get in, but not anymore. Anyway, so the Bali bombers were taken to an island and shot. But prior to that, they were imprisoned here. Fuckers killed about 200 people. It's disgusting. There's a girl called Lindsay Sandiford. I think she was born in Yorkshire, British girl. I say girl, she was like born in the 1960s, and she was caught with cocaine smuggling at the airport. And she used, it was about $1.6 million worth of cocaine, and her story was that she had been kind of coerced into carrying said drugs, but they still take a dim view, and she was sentenced to death. And the British government, as I pan round here, the British government were going nuts, and that became a whole thing, and they forced the Balinese to release her or treat her fairly. Now, she was given the death penalty after many, same as the Bali Nine, requests of leniency. And it turns out she's actually still alive, and she was caught in 2013, I think it was. So she's very lucky to still be alive. Now, here's the irony. She is known as the Queen of Kerobokan. So she's literally over there. Hey, Lindsay! Wait! Queenie! This is a true story. It's known as the Queen of Kerobokan. Apparently she eats fillet steaks. She lives separately. She's got her own room, which in Kerobokan is... I don't know why she gets treated so kindly. The story goes that she couldn't eat their slop for food, so she gets proper food. I don't really know how she does it, but the story goes that if she is still alive by the end of 2025, this obviously is the... Sorry to interrupt my story. This is obviously the gate where the prisoners go in by van. I mean, this is the last bit of free life you're going to see. It's literally in the middle of the bloody town. I mean, that's scary. Through there is some scary shit. It's where your worst fears come true. Disease, famine, probably rape, murder. I mean, can you imagine waking up every day not knowing if that's going to be your last? And I bet you that people don't last their natural lives in there. Disease will get you, or violence will get you, fucking food will get you. I don't know. And everyone in there is on drugs. Now, the stats go that 90% of the people in there are Balinese, and 80% of those are on drug offences. And I've got I don't know whether I did this in one of my other videos, but I think I did. I can only imagine that they were paid peanuts and they've got to spend the rest of their lives. It's pretty bad, man. Anyway, so Lindsay, so the story goes that if she manages to live out through 2025, that there's a good chance, or a chance, she'll be, I can't remember the word, taken back to an English prison, so let out of here, but then transferred back to an English prison. Now, she would be freed immediately under English law, having for time served. Now, if she doesn't live to the end of 2025, she's still on death row, so she could at any second be taken to this island, I can't remember the name of it, where you're executed, you're shot by firing squad. And I'm going to tell you, out of all of the... Let's just walk in here. Out of all of the ways to die, I don't know whether you guys must have thought about it, out of all of the death penalties, for me, firing squad is the best for me. Gas chamber, electric chair, lethal injection, hanging. No thanks, I'll take the firing squad. Make it quick and easy. That is a scary, scary place. And if you walk in through the door, I mean, I can't read English, but Google Translate should do a job. I'm sure it basically says, don't fuck around. Look, there's you can see a needle and cannabis. Yeah, if you get caught, you're done for. You are done for. And that's the end of your life, basically. So yeah, so Lindsay's in there. Bali Nine. There's obviously a few famous prisoners in there. Anyway, so I had to come back to do the second tour of Kerobokan prison because I just wanted it on record. This video, I didn't. No one's asked me for a shout out, so this video I'm going to dedicate to Grayson. I'm going to shout out Grayson Rosen. You are the very best thing, sorry mate, that has ever happened to mummy and daddy's lives. We live through you. I probably shouldn't be doing this outside of prison, but no one's asked for a shout out, so the shout out today goes to Grayson Rosen, the most incredible human being. You have transformed our lives for the last 9 years that you've been alive. And mummy and daddy want you to have all of the luck and the success that you so richly deserve. There are certain character traits that I wish I could change, like I wish you weren't so like if you lose at a game, you understood that sometimes you're going to lose, and sometimes you're not going to win the race or whatever it might be, and you've got to understand that practice makes perfect, and if you want to win everything, you've got to go out and practice. So that's really the only thing that I would change. But as a human, you are our everything and the center of our universe. So that's my shout out today. Love from Kerobokan prison, from Lindsay, who's doing her time in there, from the Bali Nine, for everyone else in there, and maybe people that are in there that shouldn't be. Maybe they're innocent. I don't know. Over and out. Peace.